to you by Pizza Hut and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
We recap Lakers Sixers and all that went down tonight.
Lakers basketball is a final.
877-710 ESPN.
It's the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Tipping off
Now, here's Allen Sliwa.
Lakers lose to the Sixers 107-106, the final score. It's the first loss on this 7-game road trip. Lakers now 3-1, and Lakers now 10-1 on the road. So an unbelievable start. Almost pulled this thing out. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think Lakers had no reason to win this game. Just the way they played through that entirety of the 48 minutes. It certainly wasn't perfect basketball, but even with all that, Lakers were one stop away from beating the Philadelphia 76ers. Just kind of shows how the Lakers can so quick turn things around, how any lineup at any time could come in and not just churn things around, but start getting some stops defensively. I thought that final lineup the Lakers had with Dennis Schroeder, with Alex Caruso, with KCP, AD guarding Joel Embiid, and LeBron James gave them the best shot to win. And they were actually getting stops. They were hitting some threes. Lakers, we know, struggled the entire game from the three-point line. So kind of look at that score, 107-106. You can't really fully understand how the Lakers outscored or went on a 13-0 run. Philly was one possession away from an incredible choke job. And for the Lakers, they could have won the game, but probably didn't deserve to win the game. I mean, how many free throws did the Lakers miss? Let me just look here real quick at the how the Lakers shot. 64% from the free throw line. Left 9 free throws out there. Then again, Philly left 10 free throws. They were 16 of 26. So the stats are very similar. Obviously, the score was incredibly close. It was only a 1-point game. But enough mistakes for the Lakers to understand why they lost, but also great for them to also know that you can play a pretty poor game where, for the most part, it was just LeBron James and Anthony Davis that were, contributing on a consistent basis. Dennis Schroeder came through in that second half. I mentioned he had 16 points. Very quiet from everybody else. But with all that said, it's only the 5th loss of the season for the Lakers. It's kind of tough at me to come at the Lakers right now. You know, they're playing a good Philly team. They storm back and make this thing a game. And like I said, we're one defensive stop away from us doing this postgame show, talking about how the Lakers came back and improved their road record or whatever the case is. Okay, phone number 877-710-ESPN. What do you think of the loss? Is this a game where you think the Lakers are just fine, no issues, no problems, or does this one sting a little bit more because you were down the entire game? We thought the game was over with just 3 minutes left to go, and then you came all the way back, and Tobias Harris hits a shot at the end to beat the Lakers. 877-710-ESPN. Let's start off with getting Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Let's get his thoughts on the loss. Lakers lose 107-106.
We have a lineup with Dennis, Alex, KCP, Bron, and AD that's been really lights out defensively, and we knew we'd have a chance, if we held down on the defensive end, to make some shots and get back in, and we were able to do that. Bron made a great pass to AD, to give us the lead, and Tobias Harris came down and hit a great shot against good defense. So, we didn't do enough throughout the course of the game to put ourselves in position to win, but it was a heck of a fight down the stretch.
There were a couple of playoff games last year, usually game one, where it seemed like you guys were just trying to get the feel for another team, and then you adjusted as the series went on. Did you see that playing out tonight and just trying to figure out what was going on with Philly?
Yeah, we did. And, sometimes, the best adjustments are just do what you're doing better. And, that was really what we did throughout the game tonight. We didn't break from our coverage that we started the game. We just executed it better. It's one of those things as a coach, you're always measuring, whether to make a big adjustment or just do it better. And we definitely did a far better job in the final 3 quarters than we did in the first quarter. And we were able to give ourselves a chance.
Dave?
Frank, obviously you guys are a pretty good shooting team this season, but when you come away from a win or a loss that's by 1 point, and see that you missed 9 free throws, what goes through your mind, and how do you address that?
They missed 9 or they missed 10, so it was really even from the line. Good free throw shooters are going to have nights where they miss free throws. Everybody concentrates on their work. They put in, they do their routine. They get ready for it. Can't really worry about it. You just got to focus on making the next game.
Kyle?
Hey, Frank, that lineup that you guys went on the run with Dennis and Alex and KCP around LeBron and AD, is that situational, or is that the lineup that you kind of foresee being sort of the ace in the hole closing lineup, whatever you want to call it? And if so, what are sort of the strengths there?
Well, it's it's not a lock that I'll go to that every game. There's some strengths. With that lineup in terms of defensive speed, around AD and Bron as defensively as sort of the two bigs and what they can do. But Alex, KCP, and Dennis, obviously elite perimeter speed and containment ability, and they got great space to drive and kick and play that game with AD at the 5. So there's some positives, but it's not something that it will be a lock that I go with that every night. I mean, AD and Bron will be in there, and we'll see how the rest of the guys are playing and what the matchups look like.
A couple more, Dan.
Frank, how do you think you guys did against Joel?
Better as the game went along. I thought our fouling discipline in the second half was far better than the first half, and as a result, he didn't shoot as many free throws. So that's where it starts with him. But he's a unique player, and we didn't face him last year. He's got a lot of tricks and is shifty and is very difficult to defend without fouling. So, obviously, like I said, we didn't do a good enough job in the first half, but it got better as the game went along.
Last question, Jovan.
Hey, Frank, as a follow-up to that, what did you think of your double teams against Joel and how effective that was and then the rotation after?
It's sort of the same answer, really a couple of them early on, and we split a couple of times, gave up some threes. We were rejected to the basket one time, but again, better as the game went along.
All right, that's Lakers head coach Frank Vogel there on the 107-106 loss. If you're just tuning in right now, Lakers were down 12, about 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, and they decide to go on a 13-0 run, take a 1-point lead off a beautiful play drawn up. Anthony Davis gets a nice dish from LeBron James to give the Lakers a 1-point lead, 106-105. About 11 seconds left. Tobias Harris gets an opportunity. Alex Caruso switched on him, and Tobias Harris hits about maybe a 8-9 footer or so, just kind of rises up over Alex Caruso, and Lakers lose by 1. I want to take some phone calls here, a couple quick phone calls, and I'll definitely read off some of these tweets as well. But 877-710-ESPN. If you want to hit me on Twitter, at Allen Sliwa, if you're tuned in here on 710 or on all our social platforms, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Scooter in L.A. Scooter, what's going on, man? Thank you for calling in.
How you doing, Allen?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, it was a tough game, man. They battled uphill battle the whole game. I just wanted to say that the last play when after Philadelphia missed and LeBron had the ball, I think Vogel should have said that last time out. I mean, he made a good call and they scored, but they wasted about 10, 11 seconds before he called a timeout.
Yeah, it looks it looked like, Scooter, they thought they were just going to go, and there was no set. I mean, Lakers didn't look like they were prepared, so that's probably why they used that last timeout. But, Scooter, I appreciate you calling in. It's kind of funny. We could sit here, and you actually heard Lakers head coach talk about this as well. When Vogel said, somebody said, what do you think of the 9 missed free throws that you missed? And he said, well, Philly missed 10. Turnovers were virtually equal. Lakers fought there towards the end. I'm trying to find things. Let me read off a couple tweets here, and I think this kind of says a lot about this game tonight, or at least how Laker fans feel about the loss tonight. So at SportsGoddess24 says, those missed free throws killed me. but I am not disheartened. We played like crap throughout, but still came back and never gave up. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, the Lakers, this is not going to be the blueprint game that we see from the Lakers and say, yep, this is how we want to see the Lakers play every single night. They were still in it. They still had their shot, and I didn't think they had any shot there in that fourth quarter. I mean, for the most part, there was enough of a cushion where even when Lakers got it down to 6, it was back up to 10 within a couple possessions. But ultimately, the Lakers lost 107-106. More of your phone calls when we come back, 877-710-ESPN. I'll read off more tweets. Mark Gasol coming up next as well. Lakers lose to the Philadelphia 76ers, 107-106. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn. You ready? LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station. Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800 for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Allen Sliwa.
107-106, the Philadelphia 76ers over the Lakers. By the way, just a quick reminder, tomorrow, another game coming up for the Lakers. So they're playing in Detroit against the Pistons, 5 o'clock tip-off, pregame at 3:30. So quick turnaround for the Lakers here. You're listening to KSPN Los Angeles. The Lakers on the defensive side, let me give everybody just a quick idea how Lakers, kind of, I guess you could say, in comparison to some of the other games for the Lakers. So 5 steals for the Lake Show, 2 block shots. To compare that to Philly, they had 10 steals and 7 block shots. It is, I guess you can say, from a defensive perspective for the Lakers, just no real flow for an entire stretch of 48 minutes, and they were playing catch-up the entire time. When they really need stops, they didn't exactly get those stops. This postgame show is presented to you by Adriana's Insurance. Win and save on your auto insurance, and only Adriana's Insurance can guarantee it. For more than 25 years, Adriana's Insurance has been the champion of savings. Visit SaveWithAdrianas.com today. More options, no contracts, just savings. Certainly the Lakers, I think, will have much better performance tomorrow against the Pistons. Detroit has the worst record in the Eastern Conference, by the way, so it better be better. Brandon in Inglewood. Brandon, appreciate you calling in. You're on the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, what's up, Allen? Happy New Year to you, man.
Thank you, man.
Long
You too.
time no talk to. Thank you. But yeah, I just wanted to say, man, I just think it was a weird game, man. I think the Lakers were just trying to adjust, right? Playing a team that they only play twice a year. You only see Joel Embiid once or twice a year. I think the referees, they were quick to blow the whistle, giving Embiid a lot of calls, which kind of messed up the flow of the game there early on. And I think the Lakers' bodies on the road, just trying to get up to speed, right? So I think we fell behind in that first half, and it kind of made the game a little bit harder as the game went on. But overall, I think they played well. They showed some signs. Dennis Schroeder showed some signs there that we needed to see from him. KCP with some big shots. So I don't think there's anything alarming there. I really think the big thing was Embiid early on, just drawing fouls. I mean, they put the bigs in tough spots. Marc Gasol was in tough spots. AD not able to get a rhythm because of Embiid and those referees giving them those calls. So I think, you start off, you hope that, when you're playing a bad team, normally you can come back and win a game like that. But with Philly tonight, obviously they're not bad. So,
but Brandon, I'll tell you this. That's first of all, appreciate you calling in. Those are all really, really valid points. I feel like a lot of Laker fans feel like you just feel right now, where it wasn't perfect. The team is fine. I'm getting a ton of tweets here. Roberto Valentine says Lakers played ugly, sluggish, free throw terrible, bench gave nothing, 7-game road trip, Sixers are best in the East squad, and you lost by 1. Even the Lakers couldn't believe they took the lead. Lake Show is fine. I'm getting a lot of messages like that, and I feel, you're just not too concerned about this loss. You're really not. Would it have been nice to win? Would it have been nice to be the team that was up by 10, 12 points throughout the game, or 8 points, or whatever the case is? Of course it would have. I did think Embiid, the way the Lakers guarded Embiid in the second half compared to the first half, Embiid came out the gates. I want to say he had 13 in the first quarter, ended up with 28. So it wasn't as if, Joel Embiid dominated for 48 minutes. It was the other guys. Tobias Harris is a nice player. Probably one of the more underrated players in the NBA. Danny Green gave them 14 points. And we know Danny Green. Green's either going to have a good night or he's going to have an off night. There's nothing in the middle for Danny Green. This was one of his on nights. Ben Simmons, a triple-double. So they got some players too. Philly's going to be in the mix towards the end of the season, and we'll see how things pan out. But at least this early on, 19 games into the season, Philly got the best of the Lakers tonight. All right, let's take a listen to Marc Gasol, get his thoughts on the Lakers' loss and his performance specifically against Joel Embiid.
You guys had set a team record by winning 10 road games to start the season. Got away from you guys tonight. What were some of the reasons you saw out there?
A couple of breakdowns here and there, defensively, especially transition. When we were getting on the third quarter, we were getting control of the game, and then a couple of breakdowns and gave them, good looks that they made us pay for that. I thought, we did a great job of fighting and clawing to get back into the game. Great effort. They made a good play at the end. We could have did a little better job as a team to get that stop. But you got to congratulate the other team and move on.
You guys had been hitting a lot of threes this season. Had a tough time for the first 3.5 quarters, but then 3 in a row kind of made it close. Was it a case of a little bit too late?
No, they got us back into the game and we actually got ahead. Obviously you wish to make them all and shoot 100%, but that's not how life works.
You talk about a player like Joel Embiid, and tonight it was Tobias Harris who really kind of stood up and obviously hit the go-ahead basket. How good is this Sixers team?
They know what they're looking for. I think they all the players accepted their roles and want to excel in them. They know what they want to live by offensively and what they want to live by defensively. So and they're comfortable with it. Obviously, they get into the free throw line a lot, and that controls the game in a way.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Brad Turner, please.
Mark, I was noticing that Dennis Schroeder had a really good second half versus his first half. What do you think changed for him, and how much did that help you guys to get back in the game and have him scoring 16 in the second half?
I think he started playing downhill. The paint opened up for him once we made a couple shots from the outside. He was playing very aggressive downhill and got to the paint. Got the N1 in the fourth quarter also. He was just decisive to attack, his defender.
All right, everybody. Any additional questions, please raise your hand. All right, let's go to Kyle Goon.
Hey, Mark. How do you feel like you handled some of the officiating calls and some of the physicality in the game emotionally?
Emotionally. Obviously, it's a physical game, and it's a game that you like to get up for. It's a great team, a great player that play old school offensive basketball. So it's a game that I enjoy playing. Fighting and wrestling on the post. It's a good matchup. I enjoy playing against Joel my whole career, and yeah, he does they do a good job of getting the ball in different ways. He stays aggressive. He doesn't take any more the passenger seat. He's on the driver's seat the whole game. So that it's fun to play.
Jovan?
Hey, Mark. I apologize if you were asked this already, but I wanted to ask about the double teaming tonight and how effective you felt that was against Joel, and then how your guys' rotations were outside of that when he would move the ball.
Obviously, we just fresh out of the game, so I'm not, I got to look at tape and see, because once you own the ball, you don't get to see what's happening behind, and you kind of rely on somebody else to read and talk and communicate what's happening. We made him work. I think we fouled him a little too much in the first half. Second half, it was a little bit different. He got that three at the top of the key one time on a miscommunication, and then got that long hook to the middle, and then got the N1 baseline that we're supposed to take away. Like I said, they play through him, and they play through him a lot, and they're gonna keep feeding him. It's not like they're gonna go away and feed somebody else. They know who they're going to play through and how they're going to play, and they're comfortable with that. It's fun when it goes that way for you. So, we'll look at it and we'll get better.
It's all right there for the Los Angeles Lakers. One thing I kind of take away from Gasol too, he's put in this position, obviously try to stop one of the best big men in the NBA. But man, when the Lakers went to AD on Joel Embiid, what a better matchup, just as far as the speed of the Lakers. I know AD's given up some size, but at the same time, it just puts the Lakers, in my opinion, on a defensive perspective. It's a lot tougher for Joel Embiid to score on AD than it's going to be on Marc Gasol. So something to keep in mind as the season progresses if Lakers are back in that position. Okay, and we come back. We'll take more of your phone calls, 877-710-ESPN. We'll get a chance to hear from LeBron James, get his thoughts on the loss. Appreciate you guys being a part of the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station.
Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny, is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
Again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka,
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
you have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway
Your chance at $180 a day.
and the grand
Brought to you by Pizza Hut and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
once again.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
107-106 the final score. Lakers lose to the Philadelphia 76ers. 14-5 on the season, so only their 5th loss. It's their first road loss of the series of the season. Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint. Right now, local residents can take 40% off on factory direct high-quality Vista Paint products. A Vista Paint team member will show you how. Locally owned, manufactured, and operated since 1956. Vista Paint. Lakers, by the way, 62-50 points in the paint. Lakers were fine as far as getting their buckets down low. 3-point shooting was a struggle. Free throw shooting was definitely a struggle. So there were some areas in the Lakers game that they'd be the first to say, and I'm sure we've already heard it with Marc Gasol. We've already heard it with Coach Vogel. We've already heard some of the areas that they know that they can improve on. This is the vibe that I'm getting right now, and this is how I feel, and I think a lot of Laker fans fall along the same lines. Okay, it's a loss. It's not a bad loss. Dennis Schroeder really got it going in the second half, and you feel good that the guy kind of got into some kind of a rhythm because Schroeder's been struggling. The last couple of games, I mentioned it to Michael, he hasn't been the Dennis Schroeder that started off the season, but he had 16 points just in the second half. KCP did not have a good game, but hit a big shot towards the end. Alex Caruso, there's a few games in a row here where you just cannot find a way to take Alex Caruso out the game towards the end. He had 10 points, hit a couple big threes, or hit a big three, and had no problem D'ing up on anybody that was in front of him. Unfortunately, it was Tobias Harris over Alex Caruso there at the end. As for LeBron, 34 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 12 of 22 from the field, 8 of 11 from the free throw line. LBJ's doing everything. He needed more help tonight. He didn't get it. Here's LeBron James on the Lakers' 1-point loss.
Hey, LeBron, what you see is the primary reason that Philly was able to build the double-digit leads once a quarter almost that you guys had to kind of dig your way out of?
It was a game of rust for them. The first quarter we put them to the free throw line way too much. I believe they had 12 free throw attempts at the end of the first quarter, something like that. And B probably may have like 8 of those. And it allowed them to get their defense set, neutralized us being able to get stops to get out on the break. So we had to do a better job of that. But I thought, besides that, we held them to 21 points in the second, 26 and 26. And, and gave ourselves an opportunity to win at the end. And it didn't go our way, but I loved our fight. But you got to do a better job with keeping our hands out of the cookie jar, especially with a guy like Embiid who has, Harden-like, magic as far as the swipe moves and things of that nature.
Up until that final run there, the shots weren't going down. That's happened a couple times on this trip. Have you seen anything different, or is it sort of make-miss in the way that you guys are getting shots and then converting from the perimeter?
I think we got some great looks. We play the same way every game. It's not like we change our approach, our shooters kind of struggle tonight, obviously. We need, to open up the perimeter a lot more, but we got some great shots. Didn't make them.
Kyle?
Hey, LeBron, that closing lineup you guys had tonight, a lot of teams, even dating back to last postseason, has struggled when you and AD are with 3 other perimeter players. Do you feel like that lineup they had tonight is a little bit of a ace in the hole that you guys have to really match up well with anybody?
Well, it's always good to know that you can go down the stretch and go to AD at the 5 and me at kind of like that point forward, and then surround us with guards and shooters and defenders if need be. We have a lot of minutes as far as with AD at the 5 and me kind of playing the 4 on defense and playing the point on the offensive end. So it was a good lineup for us, and then also having KCP out there with AC and Dennis, it just gives us a lot of dimension, both offensively and defensively.
Dan?
Sorry about that. LeBron, AD was under 20 points again tonight. What do you think of his offensive rhythm right now? And are there things that you guys can do to try to get him going a little bit more, or is this just him working his way into the season still?
You said AD?
Yeah, Anthony.
No, I thought, he missed some shots that he's accustomed to making, and I think AD is in a pretty good rhythm right now, and I think every game is, getting better and better for him. But, it's our job to give him the ball. It's our job to give him the ball, and I thought we did a great job at times. At times we did not. So we got to be better as well with that.
Dave?
Ron, a couple of years back, we were in Philly, and you were talking about the Sixers squad and the expectations placed upon them. And you said everybody wants instant oatmeal, but it takes some time for these things to come together. How do you view them now, the number one team in the East, and they just played you guys down to the wire?
I think it's a really good team that they put together. Give a lot of credit to Ellen Brand and and the things that they're doing here. Obviously Doc has always won pretty much wherever he's been, and he got him playing some really good basketball. So, we see as the season goes on, there's going to be a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference that's going to play championship basketball down the stretch. And I know they believe that they're one of those teams.
Two more, Bill.
Hey, LeBron. That run that you guys had in the fourth, started with a couple of buckets from Alex, and then he had a steal in there also. I'm just wondering, how have his contributions maybe evolved, or what is different about the way he's contributing to this group this year, and just how much better is he than he was a year ago?
I mean, AC is whatever we need. AC is kind of a Swiss Army knife, to be honest. If you need scissors, you need a wine opener, you need a fingernail clipper, if you need a knife, he's all of that in one. He can do it all. I mean, he just helps our ball club in so many different ways. He can bring the ball up, play the point. He can play off the ball. I mean, he's shooting, dead eye from the three this year, and he defends at a high level, and he doesn't make many mistakes. So, you always can live with that. You can live with a guy on the floor like that and just plays championship basketball.
So you make him open your wine for you?
And I open my own wine. I'm going to be honest. I would not let him open my wine, and that's no disrespect to him. But when it comes to my wine, I trust myself.
Sarah?
Hey, LeBron. I was just wondering, with how long you've been on the top, you've obviously had to adapt to a lot of things. I was just wondering how it is that you manage changing your game and just change in general.
You have to change with the times, I guess. You have to continue to evolve. I mean, when I came into the league, it was literally a big man's league, pretty much. And I don't mean that it's not a big man's league. Now I mean like the fours and fives pretty much played in the paint. You had, big guys, and there was a lot of posting up, things of that nature. You had some flick wings and things of that nature, but it was a big body, big man game. And as the league evolves, you have to be able to evolve with it if you want to keep up with the time, keep up with the Joneses or keep up with the Jameses in my case. So, for me, never putting a cap on my ceiling. I just want to always continue to get better and do things out on the floor that's maybe hasn't been done in other people's careers, and continue to push the envelope and see how much juice I can squeeze out of the lemon. So that was pretty loud, but it's okay. So it's just always trying to, put myself, like I said, in a position to be successful, continue to work on my game, work on my mind, work on my body, and see what the cards is, how they be played. You play the hand that's dealt to you, and just go from there.
All right, that's LeBron James right there on the Lakers' loss to the Sixers, 107-106. Lakers lose by one, only their fifth loss on the season. Okay, let's do this when we come back. We'll take some more of your phone calls, 877-710-ESPN. We'll look at some of the different scores around the NBA. We'll preview the next couple of games for the Lakers, but specifically this game against the Detroit Pistons tomorrow. And we'll take a quick look at the NBA standings now that the Lakers got another loss. So we'll do all that coming up next. Stay right here. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station. Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny, is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
Again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You
Pizza
really
Hut
won.
and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers Postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Allen Sliwa.
All right, let's grab a couple quick phone calls here. By the way, quick reminder. Right when the post-game show is done, do not go anywhere. Scott Kaplan and the Scott Kaplan Show will be coming up next. He'll go till 10 o'clock tonight, so he'll continue this Lakers conversation against the Sixers. All right, let's go to James in New Jersey. James, appreciate you calling in. Go ahead, bud.
Tired of seeing this old man carry this team. These guys need to give him some help. AD needs to get stronger hands, catch the ball, go strong, stop with the layups, put the ball in the hole. Schroeder's got to show up the entire game, not one half at a time. All right? And your center, you haven't gotten 10 points from him yet. I don't know when the heck that's going to happen. And Kuzma is a turnover waiting to happen. When he has the ball.
So James, with all that being said, which, by the way, some of those are fair points. I understand some of the frustration because LeBron is literally doing everything. I mean, I mentioned this. I think I tweeted it out. LeBron went out for a 2-minute rest, and Lakers, it was maybe a 3-4 point lead, or they were down 3 or 4. Then they were down 8 or 9. But with all that being said, Lakers are still in a fantastic position. I mean, I get what you're saying, but let's not make it sound like the sky has fallen.
I want a center. They did a good job playing the game without a center.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say about that.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling in. Thank you. And I did say this earlier. I did think that when AD started guarding Joel Embiid, it's a much different story. Listen, if you think Marc Gasol is coming on this Lakers team, he's going to be the Gasol that was a 2013, 2014 Defensive Player of the Year. That ain't happening. If you think Marc Gasol is going to give you 30 minutes a night, that's not happening. So we have to we got to be fair on our expectations because it would be unfair to think that that's what Gasol is going to do. The AD point, by the way, which I think AD so far, I mean, there's been times this season where I'm like, oh, man, what a great game. But there's also been a lot of games I'm like, okay, AD was okay. AD was all right. You want to feel his presence more. And AD is such an unselfish player that I think sometimes it might hurt his game because he's so unselfish or he's trying to make the right play or whatever the case is. So Tim Bontemps set out a tweet. Thought this was interesting. Joel Embiid said he believed LeBron James should have received a flagrant 2 for his foul that caused Embiid to fall and land on his back. If you guys remember that possession, LeBron put Embiid was going towards the basket. LeBron put both of his hands on the maybe chest, stomach area, something along those lines, and Embiid lost his feet, fell directly on his tailbone. And by the way, Embiid played a lot different the rest of the way. I don't think that's an ejection, but that's what Embiid was referring to. Overall, I kind of want to put a cap on this game here real quick. You lost by 1 to a really good Sixers team. You had a chance to win it at the end. You needed one defensive stop. How you went on a 13-0 run to close out the game and how Philly was choking that thing away, I do not understand. But Philly deserved to win that game. If you really kind of look at it, they were in control the entire way. So if Lakers would have won tonight's game, we would have probably said, I don't know how the heck we did that one, but we'll take it. But nonetheless, the Lakers, like I mentioned, still sitting at 15-4. Okay, so let me take a look here. If we look at the NBA standing, 14-5. 14-5. If we look at the NBA standings real quick, so what does this loss do to the Lakers? So it's kind of interesting. Lakers got 5 losses. Clippers got 5 losses. The Utah Jazz have won 10 games in a row. They're sitting at 14-4. So Utah technically now has the best record in the Western Conference and the best record in the NBA if you go by winning percentage. Who would have thought? The Utah Jazz, the best record in the NBA. So that's what this loss does to the Lakers. They got the Same amount of losses to the Clippers. We know that the Clippers lost yesterday to Atlanta. They didn't have Paul George. They didn't have Kawhi Leonard because of the health and safety protocols. Obviously, we know that's referring to COVID-19. So that's where we are in the NBA standings. So Lakers now second place in the West, 14-4 overall. 13-5 are 14-5 are the Lakers. 14-4 are the Utah Jazz, who have a half-game lead on the Lakers. A couple scores around the NBA. I'll just kind of point out some of these games that I think are significant or games that are still going on. Warriors and the Timberwolves at halftime, 58-51. See what other games have some kind of meaning here. Brooklyn beat Atlanta in overtime, 132-128, so nothing changing with Brooklyn. They refused to play any defense. Bucks over the Raptors, 115-108. Denver starting to get into a groove. That's the team everybody thought, obviously have a great chance of playing the Lakers at some point during the playoffs again. 109-82, they beat Miami. And the only other game I'll point out is Suns lose to the Thunder, 102-97. Phoenix is now 8-8, so they started off so well, and now they've lost a few games in a row, or at least a handful of games here at the end. And I mentioned Jazz over the Mavericks, 116-104. So there is your best record in the NBA now is the Utah Jazz. Okay, so this is what we got coming up from a Lakers perspective. Their schedule here, the next few games. The Detroit Pistons tomorrow, who have the worst record in the NBA. So no messing around tomorrow for the Lakers. Hopefully they come out, they take care of business, put themselves in a position that maybe by the fourth quarter or so, LeBron James and Anthony Davis can kind of hang out. Detroit's 4-14. So they have solidified themselves record-wise as the worst record in the NBA. So pregame show tomorrow, by the way, will be at 3:30. Tip-off will be at 5 o'clock. And then the Boston Celtics on Saturday, the Atlanta Hawks on Monday. So there's the rest of your road trip. You've played 4 games. You're 3-1. Listen, if the Lakers come out of this, I had predicted 5-2. If they come out of this 5-2, or if they come out of this 6-1, which is what Michael Thompson said, all you got to do, these next 3 games, Detroit and Atlanta, I'm not going to say should be layups, but you should be taking care of business. Boston's going to be that game where that's a good team, and the Lakers will obviously have to fight for that one. After that, Lakers will come home for 5 straight home games. So that'll be nice for the Lakers to get back at Staples Center. And maybe actually won't be nice. Lakers are 4-4 at Staples Center this year. That hasn't exactly been a strong suit for the Lakers. Okay, as we wrap this one up, a couple quick reminders. 107-106 Lakers over the Sixers. Scott Kaplan's show is coming up next. He'll keep this thing going until 10 o'clock tonight. And for tomorrow morning, starting at 5 a.m., it will be Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis will get stuff going at 5 a.m., and we'll continue, obviously, throughout the day, leading up to the pregame show, which will start at 3:30. Greatly appreciate you guys all tuning in, whether you're tuning in here on 710 ESPN, you're a part of our social show. Thank you for taking the time and obviously listening to us. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Thank you for listening to Lakers basketball tonight. Game 19 of the season is in the books.
Lakers basketball on ESPN LA is sponsored by Subaru of Glendale, the #1 Subaru dealer in America. Lakers basketball.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99.